Come, let us explore the 28th lesson, Jigme's second yoga of mantra concerns. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. The recommended reading after tonight's class are the 67th through 72nd passages, which you could read before bed if you chose. They are the passages from Tantra's Treasure of Raktatari that can be downloaded from the download page, whose link can be found in the description area below the video. Now, in the upper right-hand corner, we'll notice that this text has 418 pages. It is a beast. So, if you wish to navigate this PDF and live to tell the tale, and by the way, this PDF and all my PDFs are formatted to be read upon one's smartphone in the horizontal position, but you'll want to download the free Kindle app. Then you'll want to migrate the PDF into the Kindle app. You'll be given a choice. Open it up as a Kindle doc, don't do that. Or open it up as a PDF, yes, do that. Otherwise, you will lose all the formatting. So, this is a rather cryptic title, Jigme's second yoga of mantra concerns. So let's unpack this. My fizzy water is trying to escape. So concerns is short for the 8 worldly concerns. The Buddha taught that there are 8 primal drives. 4 of them are dreads, and the other 4 are desires. They're venal, and they're petty, and they're primal. And we ignore them at our peril. Now, we previously explored them from the sutra perspective, wherein we silently and mentally analyze them in terms of the 3 marks of reality, in terms of stress and impermanence and not self. And that's lovely. But tonight, we're going to play with them we're going to view them through the lens of the Mahamudra, of awareness and acquiescence. A Mahamudra of physical relaxation and mental release. We're going to supplement that with compassion training and love training. Now, these 2 collections of 4 dreads, of 4 desires, can be organized in terms of the 4 bases of mindfulness. Before the Buddha was the Buddha, when he was the monk Gautama, he studied with 2 prominent teachers of his time, both who taught him deep concentration. They were delighted with his progress, thinking he had completed the path. He was dissatisfied with what they called completing the path. And so he studied practiced for an additional 5 years in the forest, practicing extreme austerities, until he had his epiphany that asceticism is as vain and useless as debauchery. And then he chose to traverse the middle path. There is much to indicate that he, from that point, viewed concentration more of asceticism than the middle way. And so in reaction to that, he devised his own method, the mindfulness method, which is the opposite of concentration. Where concentration is yang, mindfulness is yin. Where concentration is of patriarchy, mindfulness is of matriarchy. Where concentration is active, mindfulness is passive. Where concentration is rigid, mindfulness is flexible. Where concentration is analytical, mindfulness is non-analytical. And so for the first time in his contemplative career, he was no longer resisting the metaphoric doors of the senses. He was relaxing and letting them open of their own accord, swinging wide upon the hinges of his five senses. And as such, he was inundated with sensory information, with sensations and flavors and scents and sights and sounds, as well as emotions and intentions and thoughts and recollections and imaginings. So, to make heads or tails of this, to make sense of this, excuse me, sweetie, would you turn the AC on, please? On. He organized his experience in terms of the four bases of mindfulness. And they have different labels. The Sutric practitioners of Theravada and Mahayana tend to label them in terms of body and feelings and mind and phenomena. The Tantric practitioner label those same things in terms of circumstance and body and speech and mind. Tomato. Having said that, we're going to begin with circumstance. We're going to begin with circumstantial dread for 2 exercises, and then circumstantial desire for 2 exercises. Without further ado, let's turn the page. So, when it comes to circumstance, what we desire is gain, and what we dread is loss. And so, we train in compassion by wishing that others receive the soothing of their loss, of their experience of loss, as well as their circumstance of loss. Compassion is known as karuna in Pali or len in Tibetan. Of course, my pronunciation is dreadful. I'm not a linguist. So at the top of the page we read, bringing circumstantial compassion into the personal scope. We shall do 4 exercises from the perspective of the personal, the local, the global, and the universal. We start with self-centered compassion, because we already are self-centered, and we're going to harness that momentum and allow it to feed our compassion for others. On the left-hand side of the page, in smaller font, we see what I like to call contemplative notation, which is kind of like musical notation. And so when we silently and mentally see the phrase inhalation, it infers that we are to, when we notice our body breathing in, we are to silently and mentally recite, soothe this here loss. Now this is vague, and it's vague on purpose. The great psychiatrist Milton Erickson was a great pioneer in the field of hypnotherapy, and he swore by therapeutic vagaries. Now, you might say, dude, I'm not magic. I'm not Morgana the Mage or Merlin the Magician. I can't magically soothe other people's experience or circumstances. Of course not. But you can wish to. So our job is not to change what we feel. To try to change what we feel is to court disaster. Au contraire. Our job is merely to silently and mentally recite these words, that they might influence our intention, our will, our volition, if you wish to be fancy pants about it. On the out breath, we're going to whisper the 6-syllable mantra while relaxing as best we can. The power of this exercise is not necessarily in the mantra. It is not in our intoning or singing or chanting. It is in our relaxing. The first syllable of the mantra, Om, rhymes with home, and it's a syllable of invocation. The syllable Ta sounds like ta-ta, the greeting. The syllable Re sounds like a ray of sunshine, or Rey, the Star Wars character. Tom sounds like the informal version of Thomas. So reminds me of Captain Picard upon the bridge of the Enterprise D saying, "Make it so." Ha is the noise you make when I tell a funny joke. Tare refers to the archetype of enlightened activity. In other words, compassion in action. Tom symbolizes the mind of awareness and letting go. Soha is the syllable of supplication. So in other words, from the liberal point of view, these 6 syllables could be communicating, hey, may all beings everywhere master the path of love and letting go. Remember, the key to this is to relax as best we can while whispering this mantra, which we will recite not 1 time per breath, no 2 times per breath, not 3 times per breath, but 4 times per breath. And at the bottom right-hand corner of the page, we see our tabulatory notation, which just helps us to keep track. Oh, sure, we could count on beads, but beads can get lost or stolen or broken or confiscated. I'm very grateful that many years ago an aging Bengali taught me how to count upon my creases, and I shall now teach you. Just as in a gym, we divide our exercises between repetitions and sets, we will be counting our sets upon our left hand and our repetitions or our breaths upon our right hand. Let us start by touching the tip of our left thumb to our left little finger and slide that bad boy down to the lower set of creases. For upon each finger there is a lower set of creases, a middle set of creases, and a higher set of creases in addition to the tip, as well as a higher knuckle and a middle knuckle and a lower knuckle. Congratulations, you now know the way around your hand. Well done. So we read here that we're going to perform this exercise for 1 set of 1 breath, which contains, so let's play with this right now. We're going to count our repetition upon our 1 breath will be counted upon our right little finger. The 4 repetitions of the mantra will be counted upon the 3 creases and tip of the right little finger. So follow along with me. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If this is your first time playing with this mantra, don't rush to judgment. If you play with this for 5 to 15 minutes every morning and every evening for 7 consecutive days, it'll get easier and easier and easier. Now we're going to work with a local scoop. Soothe neighbor's loss. Let us work with our right ring finger. We turn our attention now to the global. And you might say, but I don't know what to visualize. And the answer is you do not have to actively visualize anything. Your brain's going to make pictures. The only question is whether you notice it, and it doesn't matter whether you do or you don't. And then you might say, but I can't stop my mind from wandering. And the answer is, it's not your job to stop your mind from wandering. In fact, the dynamic of the mind's movement actually helps to free the mind. Think of it this way. When we go to see a movie and we sit in the theater when it's not a pandemic, we have a vessel of popcorn on our right seat armrest and a beverage on our left armrest. And we're able to munch and sip without detracting from our enjoyment of the movie, and vice versa. We're able to watch the movie without missing out on our munching and our sipping. Likewise, there's the bit we silently and mentally recite during the in-breath, and the bit we whisper during the out-breath whilst relaxing. And while that's going on, there's a movie to enjoy. A myriad of things occurring from without us and within us, pleasurable and painful alike. And that's okay. It's not our job to control reality. It's enough to dance with it. Even if reality is like a mosh pit. Excuse me. So we are now prepared we've worked with neighbors. Now it's time for earthlings. So who are the earthlings? Earthlings are every living being that walk or crawl or swim or fly upon this planet. Now, you may have heard that the Buddha taught in his first lesson the four truths, that there is stress, and stress has causes. And that there is freedom from stress, and that also has causes. And he taught that there are 8 causes to accomplishing freedom from the tyranny of stress. The second of those causes is wishing love and wishing compassion, just like we're practicing now. Bravo. But the third and fourth and fifth techniques the Buddha taught were about not necessarily compassionate intentions, but compassionate behavior. You see, it's good to intend compassionately, but it's not enough. We actually have to behave compassionately. Now, clearly most of us are not Jeff Bezos. We don't have the means to buy everyone food and clothes and medical attention. But there is 2 things we can do to directly alleviate the suffering of thousands of beings. Beings who have brain stems just like us. Beings who want only to live and not to die just like us. Many of which are mammals and as such have midbrains just like us, that want only to love and be loved just like us. We can choose to no longer exploit, no less murder non-human animals for the sake of their meat or their milk or their eggs or their leather or their skin or their hair or their fur or any other of their assets or abilities. And the second thing we can do is, as consumers, to stop paying other people directly and indirectly to do that for us. One of the most compassionate things we can do for the planet, for the non-human animals, for the human animals, and for ourselves is to embrace a whole food vegan diet. If that sounds daunting, don't worry. There's a link in the description area below the video to my pal Mike's channel on YouTube. He calls that channel Mike the Vegan. It is a wonderful resource. And if you really make the most of that resource, he will hook you up with everything you ever wanted to know about comfortably and deliciously and healthfully traversing the path of whole food veganism. Now, on with the contemplation. Let us count upon our right middle finger. Soothe Earthling's loss. And now we're going full intergalactic. Soothe all beings' loss. Let's work with our right index finger. My life, like your life, is not always puppies, kittens, and rainbows and lollipops. Sometimes the fit hits the shan. Sometimes people can be ignorant and cruel. And I found that exploring these 8 meditations, I should say these 16 meditations are profoundly helpful. So these are not perfunctory. This is not a way just to punch the time while we look like we're meditating. This actually helps us to deal with our shit. Now that we've brought circumstantial compassion into the path, we're now going our right middle finger. How relax into the awareness of Earthling's loss. I think you can predict what's coming next. How relax into the awareness of all beings' loss. We've dealt with circumstance-oriented dread. Now we're going to deal with circumstance-oriented desire. Circumstantially speaking, what do we desire? In the most basic venal level, we desire the gain of anything beneficial or advantageous. So the first thing we're going to do is approach this desire from the perspective of love, wishing love. Let us advance our left thumb up our left little finger until it comes to rest upon the third set of creases. Gain for this here lot. Yep, our brainstems are wired for us to wish ourselves well. Now, like a kid pushing on a skateboard and then harnessing the momentum to coast, we're going to harness the momentum to love our neighbors. Gain for neighbors' lots. Gain for earthlings' lots. We count upon our right middle finger. If you feel like this is clunky to pronounce, don't worry. Repetition is the mother of skill. Let's work with our right index finger. We're going to advance the tip of our left thumb, oopsie, sorry microphone, up our left little finger to its tip. Relax into the awareness of this here gain. And we turn our attention to our neighbors as we count upon our right ring finger. I'll relax into the awareness of neighbor's gain. It was Baka Tuku who first gave me the pointing out instructions and taught me the power of relaxation to fuel my experience of letting go. Let us count upon our right middle finger. I'll relax into the awareness of earthlings gain. So once again, this is not an active process. This is passive. If all we do is silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our in-breath, and then relax into the whispered recitation of the mantra during the out-breath, if that is all we do, then that is sufficient. Let's work with our right middle finger. One of my pals was shafted by the Disney company. So he and everybody else who he knows who got shafted are putting together their own company. And they're going to bid on Disney contracts. So, and that's very exciting because he stands to earn much more money now than he ever did as a Disney employee. And I'm just elated for his good fortune. The more we play with these exercises, the more we will be aware of others' good fortune, not through the lens of jealousy, but through the lens of joy. We conclude with our right index finger, how relax into the awareness of all beings gain. And we've completed the first quarter of tonight's meditations. We now turn our attention to the dreads and desires that pertain to our bodies. What do we dread? We dread pain. So let us view the pain of others through the lens of compassion. We begin by placing the tip of our left thumb upon our left ring finger, sliding that bad boy down to the lower set of creases. We return our attention to our right hand and our right little finger. Senior tutor of the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, used to say we don't need a complex practice. All we need is a simple one. And this is a practice that is as simple as it is transformative. We have completed our training tonight in circumstance and body. And now we turn our attention to the interpersonal. What do we dread? So here's the interpersonal right here. Our interpersonal dynamic is that of communication, be it verbal or nonverbal. What is it we dread? On a primal, venal level, we dread scorn. Not just us, but every living being. And so we train in the compassion that yearns to take away their suffering of receiving scorn. Let us begin by touching the tip of our left thumb to our left middle finger and sliding that thumb down to our left middle finger's lower set of creases. And then begin counting upon our right little finger. Soothe this hair scorn. We now prepare to count upon our right ring finger. Soothe neighbor's scorn. Both the scorn they receive and the scorn they emit. Perhaps it might have been more, what's it called? accurate to replace the word emit with the word emote. Let us continue now upon our right middle finger. Soothe earthlings' scorn. Let us conclude upon our right index finger. Soothe all beings' scorn. Let us now advance the tip of our left thumb up our left middle finger to its middle set of creases. Now let us release scorn. Of course, it's tough to say that without thinking about that Irish actor saying, "Release the Kraken." Let us work with our right little finger. How relax into the awareness of this here scorn. Let us now work with our right ring finger. How relax into the awareness of neighbor's scorn. And now let's work with our right middle finger. How relax into the awareness of earthling scorn. And now we conclude with our right index finger. How relax into the awareness of all beings scorn. And every time we relax into the whispered recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, it is as if we are sliding from the outer arms of the hurricane of life into the peaceful center at the eye of the storm. Let us advance the left thumb up upon the left middle finger to its higher set of creases. The opposite of being scorned is being praised, and every mammal is wired to crave the praise of its peers. It is not spiritual to pretend that we do not. It is mindful to acknowledge it. It is courageous and vulnerable to acknowledge it. Let's begin with our right little finger. Praise for these here fields. And what this basically means is, may everyone's capacity, in this context, fields refers to our capacity to experience the interpersonal. And may that experience be lavished with praise in the most wonderful way. So, praise for these here fields. Let us count upon our right ring finger. Praise for neighbor's feels. What do we desire that our neighbor's feels receive? The experience of praise. Let us now count upon our right middle finger. Praise for earthlings' feels. And let us conclude with our right index finger. Praise for all beings feels. And now we train in letting go. Let us advance the left thumb up our left middle finger to its tip. How relax into the awareness of this here praise. Let us now count upon our right ring finger. How relax into the awareness of neighbor's praise. And now let us relax into the awareness of, let us work with our right middle finger. I'll relax into the awareness of earthlings praise. We conclude on our right index finger. How relax into the awareness of all beings praise. After enduring a verbal introduction and 12 exercises, we are now 3/4 of the way done with tonight's guided meditation. Let's make this final bit count. We're now going to deal with the mind of ourselves and all others. Let us touch the tip of our left thumb to the tip of our left index finger and slide that thumb down to its tip. Just as every midbrain is averse to, dreads the experience of being scorned by its peers, every midbrain also hates the idea of self-loathing. And we're taking the 3-syllable word self-loathing and shrinking it down to the word shame. Soothe this here shame. Let's work with our right ring finger. Soothe neighbor's shame. Now let us work with our right middle finger. Soothe earthling shame. And now our right index finger. Soothe all being shame. We now advance the tip of our left thumb up to our left index finger's middle set of creases. How relax into the awareness of this here shame. Let us work with our right index finger. Now let's work with our right ring finger, how relax into the awareness of neighbor's shame. Let's work with our right middle finger, how relax into the awareness of earthling shame. A, we're working with the mantra, and B, we are relaxing rather than analyzing. How relax into the awareness of this here fame. Right ring finger, how relax into the awareness of neighbor's fame. And our right middle finger, how relax into the awareness of earthling's fame. We conclude upon our right index finger, how relax into the awareness of all beings' fame. Now, if memory serves correctly, that is the end of tonight's lesson. When you practice on your own, either with just the practice text or with just the video or with both, questions will occur to you. share those questions with me, either as a direct message on Instagram, or as a comment on YouTube, or in tomorrow night. It's the start of tomorrow night's live stream. And I'll do my best to be of service to you, to guide you to the answer of the question of which you ask. If you have found value in these videos and live streams and podcasts and blog posts and class materials, numerous and free to download, then please consider supporting this channel with a monthly donation through the link that can be found in the description area below this video. If you cannot afford to give financially at this time, then please support this channel for free by clicking the subscribe button, by clicking the bell-shaped notification button, by clicking the thumbs up button, and by typing a short but unique message. All these things really help with the algorithm. Let's conclude by dispelling the myth of the greedy monk. For in the Tibetan tradition, neither monks nor yogis nor even lamas are supported by monasteries. Au contraire, they must seek the patronage of family and friends and students and strangers. And those who do not succeed in finding patronage wander as homeless. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy.